managing an APM product for the last couple of years. APM stands for Application Monitoring and Performance Management. And in today's session, I would like to share with you some insights about how to create successful applications using application telemetry and data-driven decisions. Before I do, how many of you are familiar with the APM world? How many of you use some sort of monitoring tools on the application? Okay, so I'll start by about the fact that the companies today become more technological, whether it's because they enhance their products with technologies, or they go digital because they provide their offer. They offer their services on their websites or their mobile apps. So their success becomes more dependent on the success of the applications, and thus us as DevOps teams have a growing responsibility to create successful applications. So what is a successful application? Well, we are all consumers of applications, so I guess everyone has in its mind what he expects to get from the application and what makes it successful for him or her. But in essence, a successful application is one that provides value, ongoing value to customers, as customers want to get ongoing capabilities and new features all the time, and that these features and capability will solve their needs that they have. And that's not the only important thing. You need to provide all these capabilities and wonderful things in a way that will be easy for customers to consume and will be delightful for them to use. So they will continue to use your product and your application. And the reason it's so important is because there's a lot of competition out there. And competitors do more or less the same thing as you do. So if you don't provide the customers with the value that they expect, not the value that you think that they need, or you provide them with crappy experience, they'll probably turn to the competitors and you will lose their business. So being successful requires being data-driven decision makers. We must be able to know what our customers do with their product, how they use it, what features they like, what features they don't like, what works well, what doesn't work well. In addition to that, we must understand the performance of the application and if it's available. So we will make sure that they have this delightful and exceptional experience. So we must be able to detect issues as they arise and resolve them before customers are being aware of. But in today's modern application environment, this is not an easy task, as the applications reside on multiple components and tiers, whether it's servers or client, VMs, physical machines, cloud or on-prem, and they have growing dependencies on first-party and third-party services. So it's not only dependent on the application performing, it's all dependent on the services that the application is using. In addition to that, as companies go global, the application is deployed in different data centers around the world. It's being used by users around the world, using different devices, OSs, and browsers. And if we as DevOps want to update the application in order to bring value to the customers, then we are implementing features all the time into the applications, the one that we believe will provide value to customers, and we want to take out features that are not working properly or we don't want to invest in anymore. And this is becoming more rapid as companies use the continuous delivery methodology more. So although this is really great for the business and for the customers, it causes the applications to be less stable than before. But we are still, as DevOps teams, are expected to quickly find and fix issues as they arise, and we expect to understand what's going on in all of this complexity and all these applications. So to sum it all up, if you want to make sure that you're on top of things, you must be able to answer questions like, is my application crashing? Is it fast enough? Is it up? Is it down? How many people are impacted from the issues that are happening? And you must be able to answer these questions, similar questions, all the time, in real time. So how do you do that? You know, how do you make sense of all this complex story? Sorry. So this is where PMA Products come to the rescue. What they do is they collect APM, again, is application performance management. These products collect telemetry from the different tiers and components of the application, from the web or from the browser, from backend, middleware, infrastructure, even monitors the users. They process this data and correlate data that is relevant, related to each other, and then provide you with sophisticated views and capabilities in order to, on one hand, understand what your users are doing in your application, and on the other hand, to allow you to detect, triage, and diagnose issues and resolve them quickly. So I want to discuss now what the type of data that is collected by these APM products, so you understand the richness of the data that you can get. So on the left, you'll see a schematic view of the application. You see the users, you see the different clients that they use. There's the application and a dependency, in this case it's a database, the platform and the infrastructure on which the application is built. So the first type of data that is collected is outside-in monitoring, where you can check if your application is up or down. And these products allow you to ping test your application from different areas around the globe, usually done from where your customers reside. And now you check that your application is up or down, but this is not enough sometimes, because it's preferred or recommended to check whether your main business flows are working properly. So these products allow you to create more complex web tests that you can, build the steps of your main business flows and check if they're working properly or performant as you expect. And if not, in both cases, you'll be alerted. The second type of data is what your users are doing in your application, what browsers they use, what OSs they use, if it's a website, what pages they are using, what actions they're doing, and what's their experience overall when they're going into using your application. The next thing is the actual activity in the application. It's the request, the volume of requests, the response time of the request. If you have dependencies, what the response time of their dependencies. If there are failures in the requests, you'll get the exceptions information. You get logs and traces, and etc. These products cannot cover everything. So out of the box, they will provide you with a set of telemetry or metrics that these products collect, but will enable you to collect additional information that is specific to your business. So it's called like custom events, and you can send things like, if you're, example, an e-commerce site, you'll be able to send information about the different products that are bought, how much revenues customers are bringing in every day. So any additional information that is relevant to your business, you can add as a custom event. And last but not least, it's infrastructure. So the CPU utilization, the memory, network information. So all of this full stack information from client to infrastructure. This is the type of data that you will be collecting from through the APM product. So you're probably thinking, this is probably a good product for production, and you will probably be right. But these products provide value even in the early stages of the application development life cycle, whether it's planning, development, the testing phase, or the production phase. So first of all, the planning. You have this product, let's say, in production. It monitors the application. You are now monitoring what the users are using, what works properly, what doesn't work properly. And you can then put in your backlog all the items that are related to the features that you want to enhance and you want to invest in, and what you want to change or fix. In addition to that, you also know what the issues that occurred, and you were not required to fix because they were not P0. But you do want to fix them in the next release. So you put them as well in the planning. And now you have a backlog for your next release, which is prioritized and is validated by data that this is actually the right investment. The next phase is the development. So you decided what you want to do, what's the right place to invest. And so your developers go and develop, the pages, the request, anything that is relevant. So this is the first step where you can actually test and see that what you developed is performant, whether the page meets the SLA of the load time, whether the request takes like if your SLA is 2 seconds, if it takes 2 seconds, or your threshold is breached. So this is really the first phase that you're able to understand and fix any performance issues that you may have. The next phase is the system test, or the production testing phase, where it's the first time that you actually test the application end-to-end, transactions end-to-end, and you can identify bottlenecks where things are not working properly between the integration points, and where the dependencies are not working. And so this is, again, then the last stage before production, that you can identify and fix issues that are related to performance. So you wouldn't want the customer to be the one that feels these issues first. Now we're back in production, where you can monitor again what your customers are doing, and you can now identify issues and fix them before customers are being aware of them, and this in a quick and manner. So now that we talked about what type of data is collected, where you can use these APM tools, just want to touch about the capabilities and the visualizations that these products will bring you in order to assist you identify performance and availability issues. So the first and foremost important thing that we as DevOps teams must be able to do is identify or detect issues as they arise. So these products provide you with real sophisticated visualizations, charts, and dashboards that show you all the main metrics is correlated together. So let's say that you want to check if your request performance is valid. If you have an issue, you will be able to see correlated with that. Let's say if the volume had a peak, or whether there were many failures during this problem of response time, and so on and so on. We talked about web tests before, that you can check and alert you on when things are not working properly in your main scenarios. But these products also allow you to create alerts on all the metrics that it collects. So for example, let's say, again, that you have an SLA of page load time. Let's say it's 2 seconds, which is really long. And you don't want to reach this threshold. So you'll set an alert let's say when the page load reaches second and a half, and you'll get notified and will be able to fix this issue before you breach the SLA that you are bound to. So this is the capabilities that will allow you to detect issues. And now it's the part where you need, okay, I detected, now I need to understand, first of all, its severity, how urgent it is for me to fix it. And the second one is, where should I focus my efforts? So the first thing is user impact. When there's an issue that arises, these products will allow you to understand how many users are impacted by this problem. And if you don't have users, let's say how many requests or any other metric that is important to you, how much volume is impacted by this issue. And the second thing is, we call it triage because it's a term used in hospitals, in ER, where a patient comes in and says, I'm not feeling well. But first of all, you need to understand, the priority. There are a lot of patients. You need to understand who you need to tend to first. And the second is you need to know, to focus where the issue is and which doctor to bring. So one of the cool, coming back to the application, one of the cool capabilities is an application map where there's a visualization of all the components, and you will, in one glance, you can see which, the health of all the components. So if there's a problem in one of the components, it will not be green as you see here. It will be red or in warning sign, and you will know that you need to focus your efforts there. So you don't need to look at all these charts everywhere to see, to know where you need to focus. You just go to this map, and you understand this is the problematic component, and I need to drill down there to understand better what's happening. And last but not least is the diagnostics part, where now you detect it, you understand where you need to focus your efforts. And now you need all this data that is you collected to understand how to resolve it. You have an exceptions if you have failures that you created. And so if you created good exceptions that explain what's happening, you will be able to understand what the issues there. You have the dependency, so if you're calling a dependency, you will have information about that, even up to the, if you have a SQL database or Oracle, you will be able to go into the actual SQL query. If you have failures, you will understand what the failures that are associated with it, and sometimes even to the actual code to understand where in the code the problem is. But all this is great, and but you need to go into the product in order to identify, in order to triage, in order to diagnose. So the latest capabilities, enhanced capabilities that these products provide is what we call proactive detection or anomaly detection. And it's using machine learning algorithm and data mining, where all the data that is collected is being undergoes this machine learning. It studies the behavior of the application and creates baselines. And once it identifies that there is an abnormal pattern going on, or is a disruptive trend, or something that is not behaving according to the baseline, then it will provide a detection. It will send you a detection automatically via whatever you decide, whether it's email or SMS or whatever form you want to receive it. And it's not only detects, it also provides all the relevant information that specifies this problematic area. So all the correlated data in order to triage and diagnose the issue. So you don't really need to go in and try to find all the data that you need in order to resolve the problem. So everything in one place with proactive detection. And depending on the product, you need to configure or customize or teach the algorithm. So It's not something that is across the board. So if you need to take something out of this presentation, is to be data-driven decision makers, because this is the way that you'll create successful application. Thank you. Any questions? Yes. It's proactive detection, and I'm talking in general because I'm not talking about a specific product here. It's just, there are all kinds of algorithms. There's anomaly detection, there are trends analysis. So all of these algorithms, what they do, they take all this data and they process and they learn the behavior over time of these matrices, and they create a baseline. And now when something is going wrong or is abnormal to what is the baseline is, they just notify you that there is an issue, and they provide you with additional information that classify this problematic area. Does that answer your question? It's something that again, every product, it uses, sometimes it's proprietary algorithms or other tools. So as I'm not talking about a specific product here, I can't really answer. Anyone else? Thank you.